In the world of rock and guitar playing, few topics spark as much debate and fascination as the art of shredding. For decades, guitarists have been captivated by the lightning-fast runs, intricate arpeggios, and technical prowess that define shredding. However, as with any art form, there are pitfalls and dangers that come with focusing too heavily on technique at the expense of musicality. Rik Emmett, the legendary guitarist of Triumph, recently shared his thoughts on the subject, offering a nuanced perspective on the dangers of shredding and explaining how Eddie Van Halen stood apart from the crowd. His insights provide a valuable lesson for aspiring guitarists and a deeper appreciation for the balance between technical skill and emotional expression. Shredding, as a guitar technique, emerged in the late 1970s and early 1980s, coinciding with the rise of virtuosic guitarists like Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, and Yngwie Malmsteen. These players pushed the boundaries of what was possible on the guitar, introducing techniques like sweep picking, tapping, and alternate picking at breakneck speeds. For many guitarists, shredding became the ultimate goal, a way to showcase their technical mastery and stand out in a crowded field. However, Rik Emmett warns that the pursuit of shredding can lead to a dangerous trap. The biggest danger of shredding is that it can become an end in itself, he explains. When you focus solely on speed and technical proficiency, you risk losing sight of what music is really about: emotion, storytelling, and connection with the audience. Emmett's words echo a sentiment shared by many seasoned musicians. Technical skill is a tool, not the end goal. One of the primary dangers of shredding is that it can lead to a lack of musicality. When guitarists prioritize speed and complexity over melody and feel, their playing can become sterile and unengaging. Emmett notes that this is a common pitfall for young guitarists who are eager to prove themselves. They get caught up in a race to play faster and more complicated stuff, and they forget that music is supposed to move people, he says. It's not just about impressing other guitarists. Another danger is the potential for physical strain and injury. Shredding requires immense dexterity, precision, and stamina, which can take a toll on the hands, wrists, and arms. Without proper technique and conditioning, guitarists risk developing repetitive strain injuries or even long-term damage. Emmett emphasizes the importance of taking care of one's body and avoiding the temptation to push too hard, too fast. You have to respect your physical limits, he advises. Otherwise, you could end up sidelined just when you're starting to make progress. For Rik Emmett, the key to avoiding the dangers of shredding lies in finding balance. It's about striking a balance between technical skill and musicality, he says. You need to have the chops, but you also need to know how to use them in a way that serves the song. This balance is something that Emmett has exemplified throughout his career with Triumph and as a solo artist. His playing is characterized by a blend of technical proficiency and emotional depth, showcasing his ability to weave intricate solos into memorable, melodic compositions. Emmett encourages guitarists to approach shredding as a means of expression rather than a goal in itself. Think of it as a language, he suggests. You learn the vocabulary and the grammar, but the real art is in how you use that language to tell a story. By focusing on the emotional and narrative aspects of music, guitarists can avoid the trap of empty virtuosity and create something truly meaningful. When discussing shredding, it's impossible not to mention Eddie Van Halen, the guitar icon who revolutionized the instrument and inspired countless players. However, Rik Emmett points out that Van Halen was different from many of the shredders who followed his footsteps. Eddie wasn't just a shredder, Emmett explains. He was a musician first and foremost. His playing was always in service of the song. One of the things that set Eddie Van Halen apart was his ability to blend technical innovation with raw emotion. His solos were not just displays of speed and dexterity. They were full of feeling and personality. Whether it was the fiery eruption of Eruption or the melodic beauty of Beat It, Van Halen's playing always had a sense of purpose and direction. He knew how to make every note count, Emmett says. Even when he was playing fast, it never felt like he was just showing off. Another aspect of Van Halen's playing that Emmett highlights is his sense of rhythm and groove. Eddie had this incredible sense of timing and feel, he notes. He could play the most technical stuff, but it always had this infectious groove to it. This rhythmic sensibility is something that many shredders overlook, focusing instead on speed and precision. Van Halen's ability to combine technical prowess with a strong sense of rhythm is part of what made his playing so compelling. Emmett also points to Van Halen's creativity and willingness to experiment as key factors in his success. Eddie was always pushing the boundaries, trying new things, he says. He wasn't afraid to take risks and break the rules. This spirit of innovation is evident in Van Halen's use of techniques like tapping, which he popularized and made his own. However, as Emmett notes, Van Halen's innovations were always grounded in musicality. He wasn't just doing things to be different, he explains. He was always looking for ways to make the music better. Rik Emmett's reflections on shredding and Eddie Van Halen offer valuable lessons for aspiring guitarists. First and foremost, they underscore the importance of musicality and emotional expression. At the end of the day, it's not about how fast you can play or how many notes you can fit into a solo, Emmett says. It's about how you make people feel when they listen to your music. For guitarists who are drawn to shredding, Emmett advises focusing on the bigger picture. Learn the techniques, but don't let them overshadow the music, he says. Always ask yourself, what am I trying to say with this solo? How does it serve the song? By keeping these questions in mind, guitarists can ensure that their playing remains meaningful and impactful. Emmett also emphasizes the importance of developing a strong sense of rhythm and groove. Don't neglect your rhythm playing, he advises. It's the foundation of everything you do as a guitarist. By honing their rhythmic skills, guitarists can add depth and dynamism to their playing, making their solos more engaging and memorable. Finally, Emmett encourages guitarists to embrace creativity and experimentation. Don't be afraid to try new things and take risks, he says. That's how you grow as a musician. At the same time, he cautions against innovation for its own sake. Always keep the music at the center of what you're doing, he advises. If it doesn't serve the song, it's not worth doing. The legacy of shredding is a complex one. On one hand, it has inspired countless guitarists to push the boundaries of what is possible on the instrument, leading to new techniques and styles. On the other hand, it has also led to a focus on technical proficiency at the expense of musicality, resulting in music that can feel cold and impersonal. Eddie Van Halen's legacy, however, is a testament to the power of balance. He showed that it is possible to be a virtuoso without losing sight of the emotional core of music. His playing was a perfect blend of technical skill, creativity, and raw emotion, and it continues to inspire guitarists to this day. Rik Emmett's insights serve as a reminder of the importance of keeping music at the heart of everything we do as guitarists. Whether we are shredding at lightning speed or playing a simple, heartfelt melody, the goal should always be to connect with the listener and convey something meaningful. As Emmett puts it, music is about communication. It's about sharing something of yourself with the world. Don't let the pursuit of technique get in the way of that. In the end, the true measure of a guitarist is not how fast they can play or how many notes they can fit into a solo. It's how they make people feel when they hear their music. And that is a lesson that every guitarist, whether a shredder or not, can take to heart.